In the heart of a forgotten forest, where ancient trees stood as sentinels to secrets untold, there lurked a malevolent force that had slept undisturbed for centuries. The dense canopy overhead cast an eternal twilight, and the air was thick with an unnatural stillness. A group of unsuspecting campers, drawn by the allure of untouched wilderness, ventured into the heart of the forgotten forest. Little did they know that the shadows concealed a darkness that hungered for the taste of fear. As night descended upon the campsite, the campers gathered around a flickering fire, unaware of the eyes that watched from the depths of the woods. Unseen and unheard, the malevolent force observed its prey with an ancient hunger, biding its time until the perfect moment to strike. A distant howl echoed through the trees, sending shivers down the spines of the campers. They dismissed it as the cry of a distant animal, oblivious to the supernatural entity that circled their camp like a predator stalking its prey. As the campers settled into their tents, unsettling dreams began to plague their sleep. Visions of shadowy figures, twisted and grotesque, haunted their subconscious minds. Whispers echoed through their dreams, conveying a sense of impending doom that lingered even as they woke. The malevolent force, through the veil of dreams, reached into the campers' minds, planting seeds of fear that would grow into a harvest of horror. Unbeknownst to the campers, the forgotten forest was cursed by an ancient pact forged in the shadows of time. The malevolent force, a monstrous entity born of darkness, had slumbered for centuries, waiting for the stars to align and grant it the opportunity to feed on the fear of the living. The forest itself seemed to breathe with a malevolent energy, and the trees whispered forgotten incantations that stirred the curse from its dormant state. As the night wore on, the veil between the material world and the supernatural realm thinned. Unseen by mortal eyes, the malevolent force took shape, its monstrous form eclipsed by shadows. The campers, oblivious to the encroaching darkness, became unwitting participants in a nightmarish ritual. The air grew colder, and the once comforting sounds of the forest turned into a symphony of dread. The malevolent force, now a tangible presence, moved with an otherworldly grace, its eyes glowing with an insatiable hunger. The campers, disturbed by the eerie atmosphere, gathered in hushed whispers as they felt the encroaching darkness. Unseen hands seemed to brush against their skin, and the once familiar surroundings transformed into a labyrinth of twisted shadows. Suddenly, the malevolent force materialized before them, a monstrous entity with elongated limbs and eyes that gleamed with an unholy light. A wave of terror swept through the campers as they realized they were trapped in the clutches of an ancient evil. Panic set in as the campers, gripped by fear, attempted to flee the malevolent entity. But the forgotten forest, now under the influence of the ancient curse, twisted and contorted, leading them in circles as if mocking their desperate escape. The malevolent force pursued them with an otherworldly speed, its shape-shifting form adapting to the labyrinthine landscape. The campers, their breaths heavy with dread, stumbled through the forest, their senses distorted by the supernatural forces at play. As the night unfolded in a nightmare of twisted shadows, the malevolent force proved relentless. It toyed with its prey, manifesting in various forms: a spectral whisper in the wind, a fleeting shadow in the periphery, a grotesque silhouette that appeared and disappeared with unnatural swiftness. The campers, their nerves frayed and sanity slipping, faced the realization that the forgotten forest was not merely a haven for nature, but a realm where nightmares took shape. Amidst the chaos, haunting whispers echoed through the twisted trees. The malevolent force spoke in a chorus of disembodied voices, each whisper sowing seeds of despair and paranoia. The campers, their minds on the verge of unraveling, turned on each other, haunted by the insidious influence of the ancient curse. The malevolent force reveled in the chaos, feeding on the fear that permeated the forest like a poisonous mist. As the night wore on, the campers, their senses dulled by fatigue and terror, descended into madness. They saw grotesque apparitions in the shadows, heard phantom footsteps that echoed through the twisted underbrush, and felt unseen hands reaching out from the darkness. Reality and nightmare merged into a phantasmagoric landscape, and the malevolent force reveled in the surreal descent into madness that it orchestrated. In the heart of the forgotten forest, the malevolent force guided the campers to a clearing bathed in an unnatural glow. Symbols etched into the ground hinted at an ancient ritual, and the air pulsated with an otherworldly energy. The campers, their minds teetering on the brink of insanity, found themselves compelled to partake in the ritual. The malevolent force, now a looming presence in the clearing, watched with malevolent delight as the unwitting participants played their roles in an ancient ceremony of terror. As the ritual reached its climax, the malevolent force absorbed the fear-infused energy. The clearing became a maelstrom of shadows, and the ancient curse unleashed the full extent of its monstrous power. The malevolent force, now a towering and grotesque entity, roared with a primal fury that shook the very foundations of the forest. The forgotten trees seemed to wail in agony, their branches twisting in unnatural contortions as the malevolent force fed on the campers' terror. The forest, now a nightmarish realm, bent to the malevolent force's will. Trees withered and crumbled, and the air itself seemed to bleed with an otherworldly darkness. The campers, trapped in the clearing, faced the abyssal abyss that opened beneath them, a gateway to a dimension where the malevolent force could perpetually feed on their fear. The forgotten forest became an eternal prison, and the campers, their sanity shattered, became unwilling inhabitants of a realm where shadows danced with unspeakable horrors. Time lost its meaning in the abyssal abyss. The campers, tormented by ceaseless nightmares and the insatiable hunger of the malevolent force, wandered through a landscape of eternal darkness. The forgotten forest, now a distorted reflection of its former self, became a labyrinth of suffering and despair. The malevolent force, having achieved its perverse victory, reveled in the endless nightmare it had unleashed upon the campers. The twisted shadows danced in macabre celebration as the once vibrant spirits of the forest succumbed to the malevolent force's insidious influence. Back in the mortal realm, the forgotten forest became a place of legend, a cursed realm where the echoes of horror lingered like a foul stench. The malevolent force, having consumed the campers' fear, awaited the next unwitting victims who would stumble into its domain. The once tranquil forest, now a forsaken land where shadows whispered of unspeakable torment, stood as a warning to those who dared to tread into the heart of darkness. The malevolent force, having consumed the campers' fear, cast its influence beyond the forgotten forest. It became a harbinger of dread. Its malevolence carried on the wind that whispered ominous secrets to those who dared to listen. The nearby townsfolk, unaware of the horrors that unfolded in the depths of the forgotten forest, began to feel an inexplicable unease. Strange occurrences, like flickering lights and unsettling shadows, hinted at the malevolent force's lingering presence. As the malevolent force extended its reach, spectral figures began to manifest in the towns surrounding the forgotten forest. Residents reported sightings of twisted shadows and ghastly apparitions that moved with an otherworldly grace. Whispers of the malevolent force's curse spread through the community, creating a palpable sense of fear. The once peaceful towns now became a realm where the line between reality and nightmare blurred, and the malevolent force reveled in the chaos it sowed. A haunting melody echoed through the town, carried by the wind that seemed to carry the malevolent force's malevolent laughter. Residents, unable to escape the eerie tune, found themselves drawn to the outskirts of the forgotten forest. As the townsfolk ventured closer, the melody intensified, weaving the hypnotic spell that compelled them to enter the cursed realm. The malevolent force, now a puppeteer pulling the strings of the unwitting townspeople, orchestrated a macabre dance of shadows in the haunted woods. In the heart of the forgotten forest, the malevolent force manipulated the shadows to create a twisted reflection of the town. Spectral versions of the townsfolk wandered aimlessly through the haunted realm, their faces etched with expressions of perpetual terror. The malevolent force reveled in the creation of this nightmarish mirror, feeding on the fear emanating from the distorted reflections. The cursed realm became a doppelganger of the town, a place where the line between reality and nightmare disintegrated. As the malevolent force continued its reign of terror, the cursed realm expanded its influence. The twisted shadows crept into neighboring towns, and the forgotten forest became a nexus of supernatural malevolence that defied the laws of nature. Night after night, the towns found themselves plunged into darkness, both literal and metaphorical. Fear spread like a contagion, and the malevolent force reveled in the chaos it had unleashed. The townsfolk, gripped by a collective sense of dread, sought to uncover the source of the encroaching darkness. Whispers of the forgotten forest's curse circulated among them, and a group of courageous individuals, bound by a shared determination to face the unknown, decided to venture into the heart of the haunted realm. Armed with ancient lore and a sense of duty, the group entered the forgotten forest, unaware of the malevolent force's watchful gaze. The shadows seemed to welcome their arrival, twisting and contorting to form an ominous path that led them deeper into the cursed realm. As the group penetrated the heart of the forgotten forest, they encountered the malevolent force, an entity that defied description, its form ever shifting like the shadows it commanded. The air crackled with an unholy energy as the malevolent force confronted the intruders with a malevolent presence that transcended the boundaries of the natural world. The group, undeterred by the supernatural malevolence, stood united against the shadows that sought to consume them. Armed with knowledge and courage, they prepared to face the malevolent entity and unravel the curse that held the towns and the forgotten forest in its suffocating grip. A fierce battle unfolded between the group of determined individuals and the malevolent force. The forgotten forest, now a battleground where shadows danced with ethereal light, echoed with the clash of otherworldly energies. The malevolent entity, driven by a hunger for fear, lashed out with tendrils of darkness that sought to ensnare the intruders. The group, fueled by the collective will to break the curse, fought back with ancient incantations and symbols meant to counteract the malevolent force. As the battle raged on, the group uncovered the ancient rituals that bound the malevolent force to the forgotten forest. Guided by their newfound knowledge, they began to perform counter-rituals that weakened the curse's grip on the cursed realm. The shadows that once danced with malevolence now recoiled, as if repelled by an unseen force. The malevolent entity, its form diminishing with each counter-ritual, howled in anguish as the ancient curse unraveled. In a climactic moment, the group unleashed a burst of purifying light, a force that transcended the malevolent entity's shadows. The forgotten forest, bathed in the ethereal glow, underwent a transformation as the curse lifted like morning mist. The malevolent force, now reduced to a mere echo, retreated into the shadows, its once terrifying presence replaced by an otherworldly calm. The cursed realm, once a haven for nightmares, began to revert to its natural state. The townsfolk, freed from the suffocating grip of the malevolent force, witnessed the return of light to their communities. The haunting melody that once echoed through the cursed realm faded, replaced by the soothing sounds of nature. The forgotten forest, now a place of healing rather than horror, stood as a testament to the group's courage and the enduring power of unity against the unknown. The towns, once shrouded in darkness, emerged into the light, forever changed by the battle they had waged against the malevolent force. With the curse lifted, the towns and their residents began the process of rebuilding and healing. The malevolent force, now a distant memory, became a cautionary tale passed down through generations, a reminder of the fragility of the boundary between the seen and the unseen. The group of courageous individuals, having vanquished the malevolent entity, became local legends. Their names were whispered in gratitude and reverence, their story etched into the town's folklore as a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. As the forgotten forest reclaimed its natural beauty, one ancient tree, untouched by the malevolent force, stood as a silent watcher. Its branches reached towards the sky, a testament to the enduring cycle of life and renewal. Though the malevolent entity had been defeated, The silent watcher reminded the townsfolk that the boundary between light and darkness remained thin. The forgotten forest, now a sanctuary for those who sought solace in its depths, stood as a living reminder of the eternal dance between shadows and light.